Howdy, my people. Today we're going to be talking about movement, pretty much just jumping. But I see a whole lot of complaining, people saying like, "Hey, you have to play slow in this game." And that's just not the case. So I'm gonna give you kind of the breakdown as to how you can move, I guess. Anyway, let's get into it. For starters, slide canceling. What was it? Like, what did it do that changed the game so much? Like, first and foremost, while you're sliding, your weapon sprint out time is irrelevant. This game, Modern Warfare 2, has fat weapon sprint out times, but it didn't matter in old CODs because your ADS speed was just it. You were moving and you could ADS at any moment. There was no sprint out. Also, slide canceling refreshed your tac-sprint, so you had to do it like every 2 seconds if you didn't have double time. Like, you had to constantly slide cancel, which is why everyone's spamming it. It wasn't just to like be flashy. It was like to move around as fast as you could. But anyway, now you only have one option. There used to be two. Now you only have one option to keep your gun up while you're moving at full speed, at tac sprint speed, which is going to be jumping. So jumping is very important. Slide canceling was preferred over jumping because how do I say this? I guess it was preferred over jumping because you don't need to commit to it. Much like my ex, huh? Now I got 30 whole subs. Look at me now, bitch. What was I saying? See, this is why I'm bad at speaking. But yeah, you don't need to commit to a slide. Like, as soon as you start the slide, you can cancel it at any moment, you know? Whereas once your feet leave the ground, when you jump, you're in God's hands, brother. That's just how it is. Regardless, to add to it too, ADS speed in this game is also 30% slower. So it's not even as good as it used to be, which was still not as good as slide canceling. Not to say that I want slide canceling back, I don't. But the 30% slower ADS speed is like stupid in my opinion. It makes it harder, but it still works just fine. So we'll leave it there. Anyway, we'll break down how it works. You want to jump early enough for your gun to be ready by the time you move into the angle you're challenging. On the other end of the spectrum, if you jump too early, your gun's not going to be up like at all. You're going to look like an idiot. You know, don't be that guy, please. You should be thinking about your jump timings all the time. That's something you didn't have to do with slide canceling. You could just slide cancel constantly all the time. There was no downside. You have to think about your jumps. You have to know the maps even more so. That's probably more important than thinking about the timings. But eventually it's second nature. It's not hard. You just gotta practice. But yeah, jumping into an angle incorrectly is gonna get you killed in this game. It's not like slide canceling. So it's more punishing movement mechanic, but it still works just fine. So anyway, for longer angles, if we want to get like a little bit in depth here, for longer angles you can center through the wall to make it easier, but it's always better to sweep your aim. Like you put your center inside of the angle that you're peeking, and then as the angle opens up, you move your center with it. That way, if they're playing an off angle, then you're ready. Then you'll catch aim assist on them, and also that way you catch aim assist in the first place. Because if you're aiming through a wall, you're not going to catch aim assist. So your center just better be perfect, right? Which is fair, but it doesn't account for people being in places you wouldn't expect, which sweeping is better for anyway. So sweeping is always better, but it's hard. It's hard to do. Don't be like super focused on that. It'll actually just come natural eventually. But another reason the sweep method is so strong is because of rotational aim assist. Like, you want that aim assist that you get with sweeping, because the faster you're moving, which you're moving at max speed because you're tac sprint jumping, right? The faster you're moving, the more aim assist you're going to have. And this works both ways. So if you ever play Caldera, if you ever were shooting at the people on the zip lines and you're like, holy fuck, I have aimbot. Yeah, you literally did have aimbot because they were moving super fast, so you just basically had 100% aimbot. It was the same thing with people gliding on parachutes. You had way more aim assist on them than you would have had like a regular old dude just running at normal speed. So using your momentum, like keeping your momentum up, is really good, just all around. There's no downside. But now we can get a little bit advanced with it. One tool you have is going to be your resnapping. So that's popping at like your ADS, then you pop out of ADS and right back into ADS. And that might be to snap to somewhere else on your screen, that you couldn't snap to as quickly just by moving your right stick. Like, your ADS sense is slower than your out of ADS sense, so you might want to come out of your aim, snap, and re-aim. But obviously, I think it was Modern Warfare 2019, they like made it super clunky. It doesn't really work anymore. It feels like dog shit, so I wouldn't recommend it. But you can kind of use the same principle, and when you jump, you begin to aim. But if you're jumping, say, into an angle and you don't know where to expect people, you can just kind of halfway aim your gun and then start ADS spamming. And that way you only have to go through half your ADS animation if you want to react to a guy and shoot him, right? So, and it's also better if you're hitting an angle at relatively close range and an enemy could like jump out on you at any moment close range. You don't want to be ADS for that. So, plenty of reasons to do that. I would say it might be better just to do it constantly, honestly, but it depends. Another thing, assuming you have fast hands, tac-sprint jumping with your pistol out, then immediately swapping to your primary is a really good way of getting around the map. You have to jump later in this situation than you normally would otherwise, so it's not super optimal, but you get your full move speed while jumping, so you jump further. And obviously you're moving faster while you're jumping, which is always a good thing for like breaking a preamp. If you're using anything but a sub, I would really get used to running around with your pistol, like a lot. And another thing is like jumping is also kind of your new slide canceling in terms of refreshing your tac sprint. Not because jumping refreshes tac sprint, but because when you tac sprint jump, as soon as you jump, your tac sprint begins regenerating. So just regular old tac sprinting around the map, you're going to run out of your tac sprint very quickly. But if you jump, then your tac sprint starts regenning. You hit, you land, you pre-aim for a second, then you jump again. Like, it's actually just as fast to do that as it is to just tac sprint around the map, which is so unbelievably stupid, but that is how it works. So, yeah, the amount of time that you're in the air and a little bit of time on the ground is enough time for your tac sprint to reset, and then all you need is a little bit of tac sprint to hit your next jump. It's not like you need a lot. So that's another reason jumping around the map is just the fastest way to jump around the map, or move around the map. Like, you can't move around the map at anywhere close to the same speed if you're just gonna sprint normally around it. And, you know, take it how you will. You can call it sweaty, you can call it whatever the fuck you want, but it's not the optimal way to play the game. Jumping around the map is just it. Like, that's just how you have to play if you're gonna play at the best pace possible. I think it's stupid, but it is the case. So that's why you see a lot of people jumping around all the time. If you've ever met me in a lobby, yeah, that's probably what I'm doing. Okay, another thing is when, say, you're low on space. I don't have an example for this one because it's not super important, but when you have space that's unavailable and you need to break a pre-aim, so say you're just in a corner or something and there's someone pre-aiming you, the best thing you can do in that situation is just to prone into the angle and try and like vertically break their pre-aim. They're going to be aiming too high. Maybe their iron sights are going to block you. They won't even see you. You'll just get a free kill. But they have to adjust. Like, just force them to adjust. That is definitely worth practicing because you will find yourself in those situations a fair number of times for sure. Also, with TTK being so low, like, it's impossible to just like regularly challenge like you used to be able to in traditional CODs. Because sprint out slower, ADSs, like, guns are less snappy in general, and then you have way lower strafe speed and then super low time to kill. Like, there's no way you're going to be able to walk into an angle and gun someone who is half decent. Like, that's just not how that works. So yeah, the prone is probably like the best way. You can also try and jump, but at that point it's kind of mind gamey. You can try and like slow jump into the angle, like strafe to the left and jump into it, because maybe they're pre-aiming low because they think you're gonna prone, but like that's not going to be a problem in any skill-based matchmaking level of public match Call of Duty. Sorry for clicking my mouse. Anyway, drop shotting is still going to be good. It's just not optimal. It's not the best in most situations, but it's a good thing to have in your back pocket. Outside of that, I don't think there's a whole lot of other movement mechanics. You just got to know how to chain your jumps together with your pistol, especially if you're like an AR player or if you're running around with an LMG or something like that. I don't know why. Anything like that, you have to be really good at that. But you can run around in this game like a crackhead just like you used to, it's just harder to utilize jumping as a camera mechanic compared to slide cancel CODs, but it's still fun. So yeah, figure I'd just break that down for you. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Get ready. Standing by.